What if the Ottoman Empire never fell? Imagine a world not quite like our own. A world where the Ottoman Empire, once spanning 3 continents, never crumbled into history. A world where East and West, Islam and modernity, tradition and innovation continued to evolve together. Welcome to an alternate 21st century. Welcome to the world that could have been. The year is 2025, but not as we know it. Neo-Istanbul rises like a gleaming crown above the Bosphorus. Minarets stand beside skyscrapers wrapped in solar fabrics. Trains run silently over magnetic tracks from Damascus to Vienna. Arabic calligraphy dances across neon signs. A muezzin's call to prayer echoes through a skyline of drones and domes. This is not the past. This is a future shaped by a different choice. In this timeline, the Ottoman Empire did not fall in 1922. Instead, it reformed. Economic modernization, religious pluralism, a new constitution in 1923, and above all, unity over division. The Young Turk movement negotiated with reformist ulama and regional leaders. The Sultan agreed to limit his power. A bicameral parliament was created, with representatives from all ethnic and religious groups. Arabs, Kurds, Greeks, Armenians, Jews, Slavs, Circassians, Berbers, and more. The Gallipoli campaign still happened, but the empire's defense earned it global respect. It remained neutral in World War II, positioning itself as a mediator between Allies and Axis powers. By the 1960s, the Ottoman Federation, as it came to be called, was a founding member of the League of Intercontinental Cooperation, rivaling the EU and the Soviet bloc as a third pillar of global diplomacy. Without the fragmentation of the Middle East, scientific exchange remained strong. Ottoman universities in Cairo, Baghdad, Sarajevo, and Mecca became global hubs. Imagine a version of Silicon Valley stretching from Istanbul to Tehran. In 1982, Ottoman engineers launched the first multilingual satellite communication system, Mirabnet, beating Europe by 6 years. Medical breakthroughs emerged from hybrid clinics where Unani medicine met German biochemistry. Water recycling technologies pioneered in Tunis were exported worldwide. Even religion adapted. Friday sermons often included discussions on AI ethics, quantum computing, and the moral role of machines. Multiculturalism was not only preserved, it was celebrated. Cities maintained linguistic zones, where you might order breakfast in Greek, attend school in Turkish, work in Arabic, and read poetry in Farsi. Women's rights advanced unevenly but steadily. Some provinces granted full suffrage by 1950. Others followed in the 70s. By 2000, female viziers served in every provincial council. Hijabs were never banned nor enforced. Fashion designers merged modesty with modernity, creating flowing smart fabric garments that adapt to climate and context. Cuisine evolved too. Sushi shawarma, vegan baklava, date-flavored energy bars sold next to olive oil espresso shots. So what can we learn from a world that never was, but almost could have been? Perhaps history is not just a path we walk, but a story we choose to tell and retell again and again. We explored vibrant cities, hybrid culture, and awe-inspiring technology. But now, it's time to go deeper, beyond the shimmering skyline of Neo-Istanbul or the high-speed trains of Cairo Nova, into the very heartbeat of this alternate empire, its political soul. How do you govern a civilization that spans continents, cultures, and centuries? How do you balance ancient authority with modern expectations? Let's take a journey through the politics of a reimagined Ottoman future. Following the major reforms of 1913, the Ottoman Empire began a transformation from absolute monarchy to a constitutional federation. The imperial assembly, once a symbolic chamber, became a dynamic, multi-partisan legislature. Members are elected every 6 years, with guaranteed seats for ethnic and religious minorities, ensuring true pluralism. There is no singular sultan in this modern world, at least not in the old sense. Instead, the ceremonial role remains akin to a monarch in the UK, while true executive power lies with an elected chancellor and a council of viziers, a cabinet composed of ministers from various provinces and cultural backgrounds. Each vizier oversees a domain: technology, interfaith harmony, social welfare, defense, environment, and education, a nod to the traditional divan, yet radically modernized. Laws are debated in the People's Chamber, where representatives use AI-assisted policy modeling to test the social and economic consequences of new legislation before implementation. But what about religion? This is, after all, a state deeply rooted in Islamic heritage. In this timeline, the empire took a bold step. Rather than sidelining religion, it institutionalized interfaith leadership. A reformed directorate of belief and ethics includes scholars not just from Sunni Islam, but also from Shiite, Christian, Jewish, Druze, Yazidi, and even secular philosophical traditions. Its role? To advise on moral legislation, promote public education on faith and ethics, and resolve interreligious disputes through nonviolent dialogue. Friday sermons are streamed alongside Shabbat reflections and Sunday talks, translated into multiple languages and broadcast across holographic displays in public squares. Public holidays rotate yearly to reflect different cultural traditions, so no faith dominates. Religious leaders do not govern, but they are deeply involved in preserving the empire's moral compass. In fact, many of the empire's youngest citizens say they feel freer to explore faith now than in secular states, because faith is discussed, not dictated. In Neo-Istanbul, 16-year-olds vote for their local neighborhood councils. Community decisions like where to place a new park or how to manage a district's energy use are made through hybrid democracy, a combination of AI-assisted deliberation, public referenda, and trusted community elders. Political parties include the Green Crescent, focused on sustainability, the Anatolian Forward Movement, tech progressives, the Custodians, traditionalists advocating slow innovation, and the Bridge Builders, moderates focused on international diplomacy. There's even an annual policy expo, a public event where anyone can pitch new laws or reforms through open debate and popular vote. The winning proposals are fast-tracked into committee review. Transparency is built into the system. Every policy change is recorded on a public blockchain called the Imperial Ledger, accessible to all citizens. Dissent is protected by law. Peaceful protests are not only legal, they are considered cultural rituals. Citizens wear colors representing their views and gather in designated harmony circles, where viziers must attend and respond in real time. If you've made it this far into our journey through time, why not join our community? Subscribe to our channel and consider leaving a like. It really helps us and help imagine more futures we may never live, but might still learn from. In the next part, we'll explore daily life, how fashion fuses the ancient and the futuristic, how food traditions have evolved with new tech, and how identity itself has transformed in this living mosaic of peoples, stories, and dreams. Stay curious and stay with us. So far, we've explored a thriving empire where politics evolved into participation and faith became a shared conversation. But what about everyday life? What about the meals people share, the clothes they wear, and how they see themselves in a multicultural, futuristic Ottoman world? Let's step off the hover train for a moment. Let's walk through the streets of Baghdad al-Jadid or Sarajevo Central and taste the soul of this alternate future. A world of flavors. Ottoman cuisine was always a fusion: Persian spices, Mediterranean oils, Balkan meats, and Levantine grains. In our timeline, those threads were torn apart. In this one, they wove tighter. Food trucks hover beside market stalls. One sells sushi dolma, vine leaves wrapped around saffron rice and salmon. Another offers lab-grown lamb kofta with beet hummus, alongside a sweet date lime kombucha. In Neo-Aleppo, chefs use molecular gastronomy to recreate historic flavors. Want to taste a 16th century palace feast? Just scan the QR code on your plate, and the dish reconfigures to match archived recipes, adjusted to modern health standards. In schools, students learn to cook one dish from each major region of the empire. It's not just culinary education, it's a celebration of shared roots. Ramadan meals are broadcast as virtual banquets. Even non-Muslim citizens often fast out of solidarity, creating a cultural moment that unites more than it divides. Fashion modesty meets modernity. In this future, clothing is not one size fits all. It's one culture fits many. Tailors use smart fabrics that shift colors and patterns depending on location, time of day, and even mood, if the wearer allows it. In Bursa, fashionistas wear flowing outer layers that mimic traditional abayas or kaftans, but underneath, athletic techwear made for speed and comfort. The empire's design houses host an annual runway of roots, where designers must include at least 3 cultural influences in each look. One recent winner paired Amazigh embroidery with Ottoman calligraphy and Bosnian silk draping. Hijabs have evolved into aura scarves, lightweight veils embedded with LED thread that can display poetry, prayers, or calming waves. Worn by choice, they've become a symbol of personal expression, not uniformity. But perhaps the most iconic image? The Chancellor's robe, redesigned every 5 years by a contest open to citizens. It must reflect the diversity, dignity, and dynamism of the empire, a symbol not just of power, but of people. Who are you in a borderless empire? Identity is no longer singular. Citizens carry digital heritage cards, where one's ancestral languages, cultural lineages, and migratory histories are encoded, not to divide, but to remind each person of their unique position in the empire's story. Ethnic enclaves still exist, but they've become culture zones instead of ghettos. Want to learn Assyrian dancing, write poetry in Kurdish, or study Greek Orthodox liturgy? Just hop on the Culture Metro and spend the afternoon in the appropriate district. Even names have evolved. A child might be called Salim Zakaria or Fatima Maria, a blending of lineages, chosen freely by parents to honor multiple roots. Holidays reflect this complexity. Families often celebrate Eid, Christmas, and Nowruz in a single season, not out of obligation, but because these stories live inside them. In this future, to belong is not to assimilate, it is to contribute. What if identity wasn't a battle to be won, but a song to be harmonized? What if we saw our differences not as threats, but as treasures? This is the future the Ottoman Empire could have built, and maybe, just maybe, the kind of future we can still strive for. If this journey inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to What If Worlds Were Different. Your support helps us create more windows into possible worlds.